Welcome back to the All Things Mizzou podcast presented by Missouri Tigers on SI with KC Sports Network. My name is Killian Wright, as always, joined by Zach Knox-Doyle. Today, we've got a few items for you guys, a couple newsy football items, a giant update on the SEC's ruling and handling of the whole eligibility crisis that seems that it's headed in a pretty positive direction toward finality. So that's good because I know everyone's getting a little sick of that. And then after that, we're going to head into some football injury updates. And then our second segment is going to be a Mizzou draft where Zach and I each draft a team based on Mizzou football's 2026 roster. And you guys see who's going to be better. That idea, we got that idea from Power Mizzou, and now we are putting our own spin on it. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first item, which is the most recent item. Mizzou's Week 3 game against Troy, which is going to be a 100th anniversary of Memorial Stadium kind of celebration game, got moved from an 11:45 a.m. kickoff to a 6 p.m. kickoff. It's staying on that same day, so it'll still be Week 3 on that Saturday, but it's just going to be a night game now. And so now Mizzou is going to open the year. Night game Pine Bluff, night game at Kansas, night game against Troy. So that's an update there. Again, it'll be celebrating that 100th anniversary. It's the same game that they're wearing those vintage jerseys that I know a lot of you guys liked that release. So you'll still get to see them on there. I guess we'll see how those uniforms look at night now instead of at day, which will be interesting. But there's a change for the schedule stuff. As far as legal stuff, this is a little bit bigger of an update. So yesterday, well, I guess I'll clarify, Tuesday, the SEC put out a statement that said, following meetings with presidents, chancellors, and director of athletics, the SEC will enforce the following policy. I'm just going to read it off for you guys. An SEC institution is not permitted to have an athlete on its roster who has either A, previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft and did not appropriately withdraw, B, signed a contract with an NFL or other professional football league, NBA/G League, or WNBA/affiliate team, or C, has been listed on an NFL or other professional football league or NBA, G League, or WNBA, or affiliate roster. If an institution does enlist one of those athletes onto its roster, the SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey, is authorized to enforce this expectation with penalties against member institutions. These penalties are serious. It's not just a slap on the wrist that you can take a $50,000 fine for and suck it up. These are real penalties. It's schools that violate these professional sports rules. 50% season suspension for head coaches, 50% of that sports annual operating budget, and SEC voting privileges redacted on business matters are revoked. So those are the rules. That's the new law of the land, I think, for now. This seems, to me at least, much more final and setting than any of these prior updates have been. Before, it seemed a lot of like, hey guys, please stop. I'm not really like from the SEC or the NCAA's point of view, what can you really do? This time it's conferences laying down their own rules. So it's not really an option of who to sue. You can't go sue a school just for not signing a guy. It would need to be the school suing the conference or something like that. So hopefully that's kind of getting rid of the lawsuit element part of it. But I'm guessing these rules are going to be followed a lot more than that original NCAA 5-5 thing. Now, there's two names that this applies to the most for Mizzou. And Zach, I'll let you get into this. The first is Mark Mitchell. The second is Sterling Webb. Zach, you want to kind of give the update on what's going on with Mark Mitchell?
Well, yeah, Mark Mitchell, like a lot of other guys, didn't sign his Exhibit 10 contract, which is kind of like where the fine writing is. First reported by Drew King and recently confirmed by a lot of other outlets. He just agreed to it, but played for the Summer League squad, and then that's making him eligible for the upcoming season, which he's now spending at Kentucky, which I'm sure we'll spend a little bit of time talking about. I know a lot of Tiger fans aren't incredibly happy with that. But that's kind of the update there. He didn't enter the NBA draft because seniors automatically qualify for it and do not have to enter. Therefore, he didn't withdraw as well. And then looking at Sterling Webb, the two things also apply for him. He automatically qualified for the draft, so he didn't have to declare a withdrawal. And then he spent rookie minicamp, kind of like Summer League, with the Bills, but didn't sign a contract or be on their roster. So he's also allowed to come back in. And Killian, what are your thoughts on this?
It's interesting. I don't know from an opinion standpoint. I don't know the logistics behind saying that a summer league contract isn't a professional contract. I mean, yes, there are guys who are competing in summer league who aren't really close to NBA level talent, but there's plenty of guys who are on like multi-year NBA contracts who are playing in summer league. And so the fact that like, yeah, Mitchell didn't sign the Exhibit 10 contract, but he's playing in summer league. He's playing in I don't know. Me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of that. I know you guys might not care about my opinion, so, I'll shut up. But I think regardless, the rules seem like summer league contract doesn't count. Regardless of what I think, regardless of what you think, seems like if you played summer league but didn't sign the E10, which is apparently what most guys do. I was looking through some NBA reports. It seems like the reasoning for a lot of people not signing these E10s, and I don't know if this is the case for Mitchell, but it seems like the reasoning for a lot of them is they agree to the E10, don't sign it. They play summer league. If they play well in summer league, they'll probably get a two-way offer from a team. If not, they'll go back and sign that E10, hang out with the G League squad. I don't know if that's the case with what happened with Mark Mitchell, but that seems like that is what happens to other guys. So interesting that summer league doesn't really count because you are getting a ton of pro experience. Rookie minicamp kind of getting the same treatment that the summer league contracts do, where it's like, okay, they were in the pros. I guess they didn't sign a contract, but they were in the pros, but they're still eligible. So I don't know. I think the SEC maybe just realized they would have got pushback from these agents if they tried to say that summer league counted, because technically it's not like on an NBA schedule. It's its own separate event called like NBA 2K27 Las Vegas Summer League or whatever it is this year. So it is like separate. So I get it, I guess, but it's just very loopholey. But I think at the end of the day, the main thing to take away from this is it does seem like it's a gigantic step toward being closer to ending this whole "what about me" crisis, in my opinion. Zach, I don't know if you share that same thoughts, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, you said it's certainly loopholey, which I think, yes, that is still the case, and that's kind of been the case for a while. But it does seem like now there is these pretty set in stone rules, and we'll see if that sticks. But it does seem like now there has been like a public address. This is kind of what we've been waiting for quite a while, to be honest. And now we've gotten it, and it seems like there's just a lot more concrete answers for people. And I think that makes it a lot easier for fans. It makes it a lot easier for teams that thought they had their rosters constructed, and now they had to, change some things up. I mean, if you told me 4 months ago that Mark Mitchell would, not like be on any NBA team and he would be on another competing SEC team, I would have said that you're crazy. But here we are. So it's pretty nuts, but I feel like it's nice that the rules are pretty set and established now. And so that's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't necessarily mind coming from the summer league and coming back in, as long as it's not like actual NBA action, but there's certainly an argument for both sides.
So moving on from this eligibility situation, as always, we will keep you guys updated on how it relates to Mizzou and how it relates to everything else in the SEC or the NCAA or whatever it may be. We'll keep you guys updated on the site, on social media, on the pod. But for now, we'll move on and get into a little bit of football injury updates. So at Saturday's press conference, Eli Drinkwitz provided us with updates on not only Ahmad Hardy, but also on a few other guys that we saw have some knick-knack injuries, and then one that maybe looked a little more serious than just a small thing. But either way, Eli Drinkwitz provided updates. So now we have injury updates for everyone, including Ahmad Hardy, Jabari Brady, Braylon Ellison, Gavin Hoffman, and Dante Simpson. So Zach, if you want to get through what Drink was saying about those five players, let's have at it.
Yeah, starting with Hardy, before the press conference, Pete Thamel came out with something that said that he was aiming to, or that the target was going to be a mid-September return for Ahmad Hardy. Then we talked to Drinkwitz about it, and he basically said right now, all that's certain is that Ahmad Hardy isn't going to be playing in week 1. To quote him, he said, "I'm targeting as soon as possible. I just know that right now we needed a full 2-week ramp up period of practice before we would have allowed him to play in the game. And that time frame has passed." And then he said, "Does that mean mid-September?" He doesn't know. He said, "Does it mean mid-October?" He also doesn't know. So right now it's kind of just playing it by ear, and most importantly, just prioritizing Ahmad Hardy's health and making sure he is completely up to par before they get him back out on the field, which is a really smart thing to do, especially in these non-conference games that are just frankly not as important. Certainly no game is a gimme, but still just it seems like that's kind of where that situation is at. And then he gave insight on 4 other Tigers during the press conference.
Real quick, actually, on the Hardy stuff, Hardy also had a meet and greet on Tuesday. And one of the things he said that I think is the most important is he was like, "Hey, when I return, I want to be 100%. I don't want to return and not be me out there." So that's another thing is maybe, and again, we don't know, maybe Hardy could go out there in week 1 and like play, but maybe he wouldn't be Ahmad Hardy. So that's another thing is if that hypothetical scenario had truth to it, Hardy wouldn't be playing. He's waiting until he gets to be 100%.
Yeah. And that's the comfortability of having Jamal Roberts as well. Just knowing that you can lean back on another guy that is a fantastic running back as well and proved that last year. So, but looking at these other injuries, for all the other 4, he said all of them will be healthy or at least close to returning by week 1, starting with one that was a bit of an awkward landing. 4-star wide receiver Jabari Brady landed awkwardly on his leg and was helped off the field last Wednesday, so about a week ago. Drinkwitz provided some really positive news on Saturday, said that it's a hyperextension in the knees, but he's expected to come back by the end of this week. And as for Dante Simpson, he began practicing again since August 11, fully cleared from his medical condition. Braylon Ellison was injured on the first Wednesday of fall camp, and Drinkwitz said he's going to be close. He thinks he's going to be close by the first game. And lastly, Gavin Hoffman had a grade 1 strain in his hamstring, and he was expected to return about 3 days ago. So he is probably back out on the field and ready to go. So some really, really good injury updates for a lot of depth guys on the Tigers roster.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys might not be week 1 or even 2026 contributors, but down the line, they look like positive pieces. I mean, I would also like to say on the play that Jabari Brady got injured on, it was a hell of a catch. So props to him for actually coming down with that ball. And then obviously Brady is a talented receiver. It's a pretty veteran stuffed room right now. And then also Elubide, who's not a veteran, but I mean, plays like it. So you've got loaded talent in there. It'd be hard for Brady to be too much of a contributor this year, but down the line, certainly. Braylon Ellison, same thing. He's in a pretty loaded interior lineman room. So maybe in a few years, he's a contributor. Gavin Hoffman in that tight end room, which is pretty set in stone with Norfleet and then Jordan Harris, but maybe Hoffman could compete with Jude James for some tight end 3 snaps there. And then Dante Simpson also in a really veteran filled position with 3 fifth-year guys and Marshall, Gracial, and Webb, and then also Jason Dowell, who has had an awesome camp. It's going to be tough to get snaps in that room no matter who you are. So Simpson could be a contributor in there, but there's plenty of talent. Either way, Mizzou is entering the year relatively healthy. Considering the injury that Ahmad had and what he went through all offseason, the fact that even though we don't know his exact return timeline, the fact that pretty much everyone else who's supposed to maybe have a starting job or even in that second string of guys, everyone's pretty healthy. And so that's going to be big for the Tigers, especially considering that SEC slate is going to hit quick this year and it's going to be longer. So you've got Pine Bluff, Kansas, Troy, and then you're in it. So I think it matters a lot, the health that they're looking at right now. And it's going to be good for the program. One thing that I will bring up as far as potential additions with, and this is interesting, but 0-3 had reported that former Seahawks running back who had played the preseason with the Seahawks, that Missouri and Kentucky were in that final 2 schools of interest for him. Now, I also don't know if TJ Harden is eligible with the new SEC ruling. I would need to look more into his contract, but that was something that was brought up. just per 0-3. Obviously haven't heard anything from the team on it, but it was brought up. So I think personally, Missouri's backfield is fine, regardless on if Hardy is there or not. I think to get you through that first month of the season, Roberts and Zyshawn Edwards is more than capable. I still think that's one of the better backfields in the SEC. Roberts, Edwards, and then even if you get some pop from like a Max Warner who's coming in as a true freshman, like running back room is good enough. So me personally, I don't really think potential TJ Harden addition would make much sense, but also it's only per reports. And if he's not eligible, then it's definitely not going to happen. So it doesn't particularly matter. Definitely not yet, or definitely not now, and probably not yet. So with that, Missouri looks pretty good heading into the regular season, health-wise, back up to full strength-wise. And then with that, we are going to go ahead and throw it to break. And when we get back, Zach and I are going to draft each of our Mizzou teams and see who can have the better roster using guys from that 2026 season. So you'll be back in just a few minutes.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
With Yuka Boom Color Bar, what we're offering is luxury color services, but we're doing it on our client schedules. Didn't want to feel like or be a traditional salon. We wanted it to really feel like something completely different, especially for the Kansas City area. What we were trying to do is trying to find a brick and mortar that we could put a salon in. And it got complicated. And so what we ended up doing was pivoting, and we went into like a business acquisition mode where we were gonna find a hair salon and then we were gonna turn it into what we wanted to do. And Emprise was 100% behind that.
Like, we didn't just have a contact, we had a team, and they cared. And
We never sat in limbo at all with Emprise. They pushed us through, they helped us, support us. And not only that, but they've been our biggest cheerleaders since the day one.
everybody who wanted our money, it was very difficult. It was very challenging part of it. But the people who were giving us the money, Emprise Bank, that was the easiest part. So we will always be grateful to Emprise.
I'm Cricket,
I'm JC.
and together we're the owners of Yuka Boom Color Bar.
Come see us at Park Place.
Welcome back to the All Things Mizzou podcast. Zach and I are going to are going to draft our separate teams based on Mizzou's 2026 roster. So I think we're going to snake draft this. Zach is going to get the first pick. And once again, idea originally from Gabe and Cody over at Power Mizzou. We thought it was a good idea. We're going to put our own spin onto it, see which of us can have the better team. But there's a lot of talent. I think even more so on this year's team than last year's team. You can make an argument that there's a lot of second stringers that are just as good as the starters. There's a lot of position battles that I think are a lot closer, especially on the defense, than maybe they were last year. So I think we could very well get out of this and have very even teams. But with that said, Zach, I'll send the commissioner up to the board if you want to reveal your first draft pick.
Whew. Okay. Well, I've spent some time thinking about this, and because I knew I was going to get the first pick. And I've gone with, I don't think CBS Sports would agree with me, but I'm going to go with Austin Simmons after being named the 15th best quarterback in the SEC. Per a new article, I can't remember quite what that was, but I looked that through, and I mean, there's some merit to it, but I think Austin Simmons is going to prove himself, and didn't necessarily love how the passing game looked with Zollers last year. Not necessarily his fault. He's just very young. So give me Austin Simmons at number 1.
Well, since you took Simmons, it's going to help me out. And now I can wait 22 picks before I have to pick Matt Zollers, because I know you're not going to take a second quarterback. So
I
you
could,
get in the first
I
pick
could
here,
put Matt Zollers at linebacker if I wanted to.
Yeah, if you want to do that, be my guest. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of quality options at linebacker, and I'm not sure Matt Zollers is one of them. But if you want to go like that, then fine, I'll roll with Sidwar. But for my first pick, I mean, I have to go Ahmad Hardy here. Obviously, he is, in my opinion, the best player on the team. And if you're going to have the starting quarterback to carry or to generate and be the engine of your offense, I will take the starting running back. So I'll go ahead and slot in Ahmad Hardy there. And on that note, I'm going to double up on offense. I'm going to go Caden Green, and I'll put him at left tackle. So I've got my star running back, and I've got my star blindside blocker. And now I've got the two guys who are racking up preseason All-American, preseason All-Conference awards the entire last 2-3 months. Two guys that are well, Green will be a returning captain, and I'm assuming Hardy is going to be up there. But two guys who are going to be leaders of the team, who can run my offense, and I'm going to have an awesome run game. And I guess we'll say the coaching staff is the same for both, so we won't have to decide who gets Curtis Looper, but we both get Curtis Looper. But I feel confident in my run game now. So back to you.
I might be doomed. Then we should not have done a snake. Okay. Whew. All right. That's not necessarily the start that we wanted, but that's all right. With my second pick, I'm trying to think. We're only going one running back, so I know I can wait on Jamal Roberts unless you want to put him somewhere weird. But I'll take Caden Lee. I'll stick with some offense, but then I think I'm going to switch gears here. And this is tricky. I'm going to go with Nicholas Rodriguez. I'll take Rodriguez at linebacker, which I kind of wanted to do Woodyard, but I think the leadership factor and just the returning factor has got me going Rodriguez here.
I was going to say, you've got like a heart and soul of your team now.
Yes.
Makes sense. If you want to say Rodriguez and Woodyard are on a similar talent level, I think Rodriguez, just as a returner, again, we've heard more from him. We've seen more from him. You're getting a big voice in Rodriguez. And I mean, that's going to go a long way. You got to have a little bit of everything. It also makes sense that you've got the Caden Lee and Austin Simmons pairing.
Right.
Since you took Caden Lee, though, I have to pair Zollers up with Eligibility. I can't let you get Lee and Eligibility. I've got my number one receiver. I'm going Donovan Eligibility with this first pick.
Well, I mean, we saw how that worked out last year, and I'm more confident in the Simmons Lee connection.
Wow. Hey, we've got a year of growth.
That's true. That is very true.
Yeah. Hey, Zollers and Eligibility can be explosive. Zollers is willing to look downfield. He's willing. I like it.
True. I'm just hoping because my running game is just going to be so much worse.
I don't know about so much worse. I mean, it may be worse, but certainly won't be bad.
Yeah, it's still going to be really solid. Roberts is a great one option. I mean, I feel like he's a one option on at least like half of SEC teams.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So
yeah, absolutely. On that note, I'm also going to take my first defensive player. So I'm almost trailing you here in every one of these picks. And I'm going to take exactly who you think I'm going to take. I'm getting Darius Smith to be my number one edge.
That's good.
I know you were probably going to get him with your next pick too. Taking Darius. He's going to be my center of the edge room, of the defensive line, honestly, probably. We're going to have everything revolve around Darius. I believe in Darius. He's going to have a breakout season. Hopefully he would have a breakout season for me in this fictional draft that we're doing as well. But I think Darius got it.
That's a good play. I am going to do this more to I'm going to go with Robert Woodyard. I'm just going to clear out my linebackers.
Okay.
So
interesting.
I'll take the two guys that are expected to start for Missouri at linebacker and double down there. And this is a strategic game here. I'll go with Santana Banner. Yeah. I'll take Santana Banner at safety.
Those are two good picks.
Thank you.
It's like Banner, Rodriguez, Woodyard. You might have me beat on the defense here, man.
The defense is looking pretty solid.
Yeah, it's very well-rounded already. Now this is tricky as to where I go. Man, I think I'm going to split my picks here and go one offense, one defense, but it's just a matter of where I'm going to go. And I think I go, man, this is tough. I think I'll go Dom Judice. So like another year on the O-line. Now I've got a tackle in my center. And then if I go back out to defense, I've got a few options. I could go, man, this is interesting. Or I could even double down and go back to offense. Like there's Norfleet. That's interesting. I could work with that. Could get another lineman. Could look at Marquise Gracial, Jalen Marshall, just really start to bulk up that defensive line. Could even look for a star guy, a DB. I think I'll go with Caleb Goody. And I'll go Caleb Goody. And now I've got 2 starting receivers, so I've got plenty of weapons. For Zollers. Both guys good at their respective things, illuminate with the hands. Goody to kind of stretch the field, really tap into this hopefully deep passing game I've got building, but that's where I'll go with.
2 very different wide receivers. I like it. That's two very different skill sets. Definitely makes your offense pretty versatile. Okay, I had it set here. Yeah, I'm going to go with someone that I think is one of the more underrated guys on this team, Curtis Piegler, the right guard. So one of the 3 returning starting linemen for the Tigers, a guy that really looks like he's going to be taking a step in leadership this year. So I'll go with him there. I'm trying to decide. I know I've really gone kind of crazy on the defensive end, but my heart is telling me to continue that trend. And I'm going to go with it, and I'll take Marquise Gracial.
That was my pick. That was it. I was going Marquise there. Oh man.
There we go.
What a shame.
He fell pretty far. That was a good snag. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go with it when you went with Goody, which I think is still a good pick, but it's a tricky one. Yeah.
Maybe I should have went with Marquise. I do like him a lot. He's going to be a pillar on the defense next season. Oh man, that's unfortunate. With that though, I'll go Chris Graves so I can lock down a veteran in the corner.
That was my next one.
Yeah. And then, I think I know what your next pick is going to be. And I'm trying to debate if I want to take that from you or just go with what I'm going to do.
I want to see you try to take it from me.
Well, you want Brett Norfleet, I think.
Okay.
And so I'm debating that. But the thing is, we saw last year the Zollers Jude James connection, which seems to be very real. And I've already got pretty talented other skill positions, so I could maybe let Norfleet slide a little bit. And we didn't discuss this beforehand, by the way, but I think we should probably assume we're ruling out Josh Atkins, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just to clarify. So we'll rule out Josh Atkins. And with that, I'll take another starter on the offensive line, and I'll go Tristan Wilson at left guard.
Okay. Well, you did read into my mind a little bit, and I'm going to take Brett Norfleet because you're starting to scare me here. But I'll take that little bit more of a threat in the passing game. So I'll go with Norfleet for my starting tight end, and this is tricky here. I think later on I would kick myself if I only had one of. You know what? No. I don't want to reveal my strategy here.
Oh, you were just going to say one of the starting offensive linemen. That's what you were going to say.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
No, I don't. Nope. I severely doubt it.
Okay.
But now that you said that, I'm restructuring my train of thought here. But
in your head, man.
This is rough. I'm going to go with Langdon Kitchen.
Good pick.
Because you already got Darius Smith. I think Langdon Kitchen has taken a really big step throughout this camp, and talk about a guy that's going to be a leader. I mean, without a doubt. So take that, and I think it's back to you now.
Yeah. I mean, Kitchen's rise the last 2 seasons has been, watching him go from not even a consistent D2 starter to a contributor in last year's edge room, and now looking like he could very well start in week 1. Obviously, we're going to get this depth chart next week from Mizzou, but looking like Kitchen has a real chance to start and at the very least be one of the top 3 guys on the team from what it seems like in conversations with Brian Early and some press conferences. It seems like Langdon is absolutely one of the guys this year that is going to be a big piece of Mizzou's defense. So maybe not the most explosive guy, but really consistent in the run game. And I think he does even have a little bit of pass rush juice that he gets just kind of from practicing against Caden Green all the time. I know he's talked about that. So you're going to get some stuff from Langdon Kitchen, who I think you can definitely be comfortable with as your top edge in this draft. With that, though, I think I will go to Dayton Hopkins at D end for one of my picks here, just because I think Hopkins is going to be an awesome breakout candidate this year. Just put out a piece on Wednesday morning about 4 sophomore breakout guys potentially on the defense. And Hopkins is kind of the crown jewel of that group. He's really good. He ended last season on a high note, that 6 tackle game against State. Had a sack in the game, bulked up about 13 pounds of the offseason. So I've got the bulk bros, if we want to call them that, and my edge rushers with Darius Smith putting on 25 and Hopkins putting on a little under 15. So I feel pretty good about my explosive edge room right now. Is those are going to turn guys. Yeah, the bulk bros. I don't know if that's ever going to catch on. That's not quite as bad of an idea as Emerald City Route Artist, but it's definitely not great. I will see if Darius and Dayton are keen to the nickname or not, but it's meant in a very positive way because they're freakishly, like, they're freak athletes. So I like that for my team right here. And then I think I could look towards secondary. I could get another lineman and just load up on the O-line and just bully ball my way through with Hardy and a starting O-line. But I think what's sticking out to me right now is I got to get someone else in the secondary. And I'm going to go with Trajan Greco. I like Greco as a guy who can kind of, in a way, lead my defense with the IQ. I feel comfortable as him being kind of the defensive quarterback. If you're going to take Rodriguez and Woodyard there and then Banner even, I feel like the next best guy I have who's not on that front 4 is going to be Greco. As I feel comfortable is like, all right, lead my secondary, Trajan.
I like that. I like that.
Trajan Greco.
Once again, you snagged it right before I did, but that's okay because you have the bulk bros, and I'm trying to think of some kind of pun for Oregon, but I can't come up with it. But I'm gonna get Lale and Jaleel Florence. I'm just gonna double down, get both of them for my starting cornerbacks.
Makes sense. I mean, those guys have taken a lot of starting reps in camp. Lale's got the height, 6'4". He's got the reach, and then some previous JUCO starting experience. And Florence has got the speed. These guys, a lot of these guys refer to Jaleel Florence as one of the fastest guys on the team. So that's interesting. He's going to have a lot of speed. And then he hasn't played much in the past couple of years because of injuries, but does have that prior high level experience in Oregon 3 and 4 seasons ago. So
yeah, I mean, he was a high level starter in his sophomore season at Oregon, and I think the PFF grade was like 72. So he was in the upper half without a doubt. So I feel like he's a guy that could really, really surprise some people, just because it's been a couple of years since he's put production on the field, but looking healthy. I mean, obviously didn't lose a step, so feeling pretty confident with that.
Yeah, I mean, a return to form there for Florence would do wonders for Mizzou's defense in real life, and then also for your draft team here. I think Florence is going to kind of be one of the guys to watch on, like, hey, which version of Florence are we getting? Or not even which version of Florence are we getting? It's just, hey, is Florence the same player he was a few years ago? What we've heard in camp would certainly indicate that. For a guy that dealt with as many injuries as he did, for the number one thing they're praising to be his athleticism, that kind of speaks to me. Is this there? And I'm sure his tangibles are great, but the fact that it's just his pure speed after dealing with the injuries he has, I think that's a positive sign. I think I'm going to stick with defense again here. I need to do a little bit of catch up with you on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to go back-to-back secondary guys with these picks. I'm going to go Kensley Luador-Foston and play him at safety. And then I'm going to go Elijah Dotson and play him at star. 2 guys that I think are just going to be kind of gadget intertwined all over the field. They'll play a little bit of everywhere. So like, yeah, Dotson's listed as star for me and Lourdor Foston's listed as safety, but I think these guys are kind of mix and match. Hypothetically, if we were to be playing a game, they'd be playing a little bit of both, I think. But I feel pretty good about my secondary now. And this is kind of what I was touching on before we started with specifically Mizzou's defense. Like the potential backups, I think, are very close to the starters. You look in the secondary, we've got a lot of guys right now who not all these guys are going to start in real life. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in our draft right now. And obviously not all those guys are going to start. But I think they're relatively even secondaries that we have right now. So I kind of think that speaks to the volume of the depth that Mizzou has in their secondary. Might not be the top end sure bet thing you had entering the 2025 season, but entering 2026, you have a lot of options. And I feel comfortable with the ones I picked.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, those are good picks. I wasn't expecting you to double down on Dotson and Lourdor Foston. I thought one of those would fall. So now I'm starting to wonder what I'm going to do with my star. Two guys that could play star without a doubt. So very solid picks. Kudos on that. Got me a little flustered right now. But I think, let's see, you still have one cornerback spot to fill. But I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. So I can wait. Trying to play the strategy and seeing what I can wait on since you've started to fill up on stuff. And
that's what I've been doing.
Yes. I think I'm going to go with Nashawn Montgomery as my wide receiver too. I don't know if you were going to snag him, but you still have another wide receiver spot, and I'm pretty high on him. Think he's got a really high upside. Sophomore now, would have been a redshirt freshman, utilized those 4 games last year at Florida. He's a 4-star. I mean, he was the number 12 wide receiver in the country according to Rivals. So this is a guy that's 6'1", really good size, very solid and very fast as well. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. My wide receiver 2, and you haven't gone with another lineman, which makes me feel like I should. I think I will. I'm trying to see who you haven't snagged. Yeah, I'll go with Luke Work at right tackle as someone that is looking like he could become the starter this year.
And that's probably who I was going to turn to if I were to take. If I don't know exactly what my next picks were going to be, but if it was receiver and lineman, it would have been Montgomery and Work. So yeah, probably a good call in taking those guys. Work obviously now projected to start at right tackle in real life. So I've got the left side of the starting O-line, and you've got the right side of the starting O-line. And then also I've got Dom Judice in the middle there. So interesting how that panned out. I think I'm gonna play a little bit of your own game here. I think you still need a left tackle. I think I'm gonna go get Jack Lang so you can't, because I think Jack Lang is awesome. Former 4-star prospect, real tall dude. I think he's 6'7", around 300 pounds, bulked up over the offseason. So actually he's well over that 300-pound mark now. Former 4-star. He was the number 1 player in the state of Missouri at one point. He's kind of in that battle for that third tackle spot right now that they've been talking about these last few weeks evaluating. Obviously, Drinkwitz said he feels comfortable with Caden Green and Luke Work as his starters at left and right tackle. And so it's kind of about finding that third tackle now. And if we're going through the guys that were mentioned in previous battles, it seems like it'd be between Jack Lang, Logan Wright, maybe a little bit of, or Logan Reichert, maybe a little bit of Whit Hafer, although Hafer has spent some time on the interior at that backup center spot, which is interesting. Hafer's played everywhere since he got to Mizzou, tight end, tackle, guard, center. So versatile guy there. But anyway, I chose Jack Lang to be my right tackle. For my next pick, I think I'm going to go, This is intriguing. I could go corner and I could go DT. I think these are the spots that I'm looking at. Either get someone on the interior defensive line or get another corner. And for corner, I think I'll wait a second on that. I think I'll go interior defensive line, and I think I'll pick up Sterling Webb. Close call between him and Jalen Marshall. Obviously, Webb is ramping back up to speed, but assuming he's fully in shape by the time the season rolls around, Webb's a guy who started over Jalen Marshall last year, so I would think that Sterling Webb will certainly be a candidate to start this year. Will he actually? Maybe Jalen Marshall took a big jump over the offseason. We don't know, but I would think Webb, at the very least, is going to play a similar role to the one he played last season, and that's someone I know I can count on. So I'm going Sterling Webb for that second pick.
We both have an open spot at tackle, so I think that's where I'm gonna have to. That's where I'm gonna have to come in here and. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Jalen Marshall at defensive tackle, and then to follow that. I wasn't expecting you to play some defense in getting Jack Lang.
Yeah.
Very, very solid, very admirable move. But I will go. You still need a guard. I'm going to get Zach Owens at left guard. Mississippi State transfer, started 10 games with them last year. Not the greatest on PFF, was in the 50s for a lot of his rankings, but I mean, if there's a place that he's going to turn it around at, it's at Missouri. So I really think he's got a huge, massive frame. So I like that as my starting left guard. And obviously he was kind of in that unofficial competition for a while. So between him and Wilson, battling that out. So I feel pretty confident with that.
Yeah, and Owens is a guy who could very well start next season in 2027 because Wilson and Pegler will be out of eligibility. So Owens kind of slides up as maybe one of those 2-year transfer project guys who slides in and takes a larger role in his second season with the team. He also could find his way on the field this year if he plays well enough and presses enough and limited snaps in practice. You never know. So Owens is a pretty solid pick there. Even though I've got the majority of the starters in the offensive line, you've still got a pretty quality line being built there for yourself. I think I'm going to go ahead and move to receiver, and I'll take Sean Terry to be my slot wide receiver. So now I've got Elubide, Goody, and Sean Terry, and I feel really good about that. I've got a true one of the Elubide, I've got a speedster and Goody, and then I've got a guy who I like in the slot and Sean Terry. So I feel good about that. Obviously, Terry didn't play much last season. If he's kind of being molded for that slot role, still maybe won't even play that much this season with Caden Lee there. But I'd imagine he's still got some snaps, and I think he's a quality option that can be turned to as maybe a wide receiver 4 or 5 this season, right there with Nashawn Montgomery. And hey, maybe he surprises and he steps up and he's even better than that, and he's ready to be a wide receiver 3. Who knows? But I'll go with Sean Terry there. And then I will move. I'll move to right guard next. And I've got a few options here I can look at. There's Whit Hafer, who's kind of played a little bit of everywhere in practice and camp. There's Khalif Canty, a true freshman who's taken a lot of second team reps during camp on that. I believe has mostly been at the left guard spot. But I could just shift him over to the right. This is interesting. This is an interesting spot to be in, man. And you know what? I think I'll go Whit Hafer. Just have a little bit more veteran experience. And I'll throw Whit Hafer at right guard. I'll trust in Whit. I think he's got it.
Oh, you just
and so now I've got
rocked my system.
I've got the 3 guys who can play some center snaps, and Wilson, Judice, and Hafer. And there's one guy left for you to take that we had talked about a little earlier this offseason. I'm not sure if that's what you're going to, but there is an option there. But I feel good. I'm playing a lot of defense with this draft, man. I didn't
expect that.
At the same time I was playing defense.
We are at the point, at least in my roster, where I think there's nothing else you can play defense on. So I think it's just kind of plug and play with what I like better now. So I'll double check on that, make sure I'm not making a big mistake here. Okay, yeah. So I'll go ahead and I'll fill in my running back, and I'll take Jamal Roberts as my RB1. Very solid running back one. I mean, as he was 11th in the SEC last year, and he wasn't even running back one in rushing yards. So that's the kind of athlete that he is. And I mean, that huge run against Kansas was one of the highlights of the season. So a lot of fun to watch him. I like him at running back. I'll take Kenrick Lanier as my last wide receiver, which is right now have two guys that would have played slot, but I think I'm still going to go with it. Yeah, I think they'd be able to make it work. So I'd go with Caden Lee, Nashawn Montgomery, and Kenrick Lanier are my 3 wide receivers.
I think you can make that work.
Yeah.
My pick here. See, what I'm considering is moving Elijah Dotson to corner and taking another guy I like at star.
Oh my gosh. This guy.
I'm considering doing this because, yeah, sneak peek, there was a little more defense I could play.
Man.
And I think I might, man. I really like Elijah Dotson at star, though.
We should have set these rules a little bit harder.
There are no rules. This is college football. I'm considering it, but I think I'll be nice and let you have him instead.
Oh, thank you.
I don't want to be too mean.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll go. Since you filled in your guys that I can't play defense on, I'll do the same. I'll take Matt Zollers and I'll take Jude James.
Okay. I like that.
So I've got a full offense now.
Yeah, the offense is looking full. Just this is where it starts getting a little getting into the depth here. At star decisions. I think I'm going to go with CJ Bassett at star.
That's who I was considering taking and then moving Dotson to corner. So
yeah, last year, thank you. Last year as a freshman, played in all 13 games, 168 snaps. So a guy that obviously they've already put a lot of trust in, CJ Bass. So I'll go with him. And I think I'll clear up my secondary and I'll go with, I'm going to go with the true freshman as my second safety. I'm going to go with Jaden McGregory as my other safety. 4-star prospect.
The best true freshman pick you can make, I think.
Yeah. One of the guys that, if I'm not mistaken, one of the guys that Drinkwitz said could get some run this season.
Yeah, McGregor has been a guy that Drinkwitz has highlighted, that players have highlighted throughout camp as being, hey, he's impressed early. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays early. So given what everyone's been saying, yes, it's very reasonable to expect McGregory to play significant snaps, I think, this year, especially in these first 3 weeks. And then if he holds up well in those, then definitely throughout conference play. But especially considering how much rotation I expect there to be in Missouri's secondary this year, I think McGregory is absolutely a guy that will be playing. That being said, I might also take a true freshman here at cornerback. Now, obviously, playing corner as a freshman is a little more difficult than safety, but I think Jackson Gates might have it. I'm between Jackson Gates, Cam Keys, and Nick Deloach here for my guy to be my corner 4, or my corner 2, I guess, but corner 4 overall in the draft. And Deloach is obviously a guy who started before, but we really haven't heard much from during camp. Gates is the opposite, where we've heard a couple shout outs from him of being a guy that's impressed as a true freshman, but enters definitely on the lighter side and then obviously has no collegiate experience. So I could switch it up and go Cam Keys, who's kind of in the middle there. But you did a true freshman, or you grabbed a true freshman, I'll grab one too. I'll take Jackson Gates.
I like that.
Both not true freshmen in the secondary. A little bit, I'll match you there. And then I will go Jason Dowell to be my second defensive tackle. Another guy that we've heard a lot of buzz from during camp is, hey, he's transformed the body. He's ready to step into a larger role. Last year, there were 4 D tackles that played triple-digit snaps for Mizzou, and 3 of those guys are back in Gracial, Marshall, and Webb. So if, let's say, hypothetically, Missouri keeps roughly the same formula, that means someone is slotting in there. Why not Jason Dowell? I think Dowell has the tools to do it. So Jason Dowell rounding out my defensive line.
I think I'm missing someone at center, but left tackle, I'm going to take Reichert, who was in the hunt for right tackle, but I'll take him at left. I could be just completely missing someone, but I'm going to go with Bryson Wessel for my center spot. I think that another true freshman, but he was recruited to play, even though he didn't play center in high school, was recruited to play that position for the Tigers. So I'll go with him at my center spot, and I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I think that it's probably the right call to turn to there, just given what they recruited them to do. Maybe they see something, so why not take a swing? For me here, and then I definitely did. I played a little defense on you there, getting Hafer and Wilson. I did take that into account. So apologies for that, but it's
hey, you gotta put it all out there.
It's
I respect
out here, man. And then with that, my last 2 picks are linebackers. Luckily, I think there's 2 linebackers that are pretty awesome. I'll go Dante McClellan and Jeremiah Beasley. Again, there was 4 linebackers last year who played triple-digit snaps. And Trotter, Jacobs, Newsom, and Rodriguez. 3 of those guys are gone. Obviously, Woodyard is going to be one of those guys. Those last 2 spots are open. Dante McClellan obviously had the pick 6 against Central Arkansas, and he had the fumble recovery against Virginia in the Gator Bowl. That's a guy who's been playing a lot of second-team reps. And then Jeremiah Beasley now entering, I believe, his 4th season of college football. He's a guy who would play last year, and he even got some first-team reps early on in camp, but overall probably going to be on that second team if I had to take a swing. I like Beasley and McClellan as my linebackers. Do I think they're as good as Rodriguez and Woodyard? No. I think they're pretty damn good, though. So I'm comfortable, and that does it for my team. And you've got one last pick here, the last pick of the draft, and it's going to be your defensive end. And this is a spot that we've talked about all season, is who's going to be that DN 4. And almost we've been kind of alluded to that by, like, when I was talking to Brian early, the edge coach, hey, we view Langdon, Darris, and Dayton as the 3 breakout guys, kind of looking for someone else maybe to step up. And there's plenty of options here, a lot of guys who bring different things. So I really don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer, but I'm curious as to who you lean toward here, Zach.
Yeah, this is tricky. We've had a lot of conversations about this, and I had my mind set, but then I thought back to my original thoughts at the start of the season. Well, I'm gonna stick with the gut, and I'm gonna go with Jaden Jones, Florida State transfer. I think that he offers some collegiate experience. He's had a lot of injury issues, but he was pretty healthy last year, and he played in 12 games, had 7 tackles. So he looked pretty strong coming back from an injury that, took him out for about 2 years. So I feel good with that. I think that could be a guy that we'll see as the number 4 edge, see him get some minutes. I was thinking maybe Kamar and Morgan as well, but I'm going to go with a little bit more of a veteran presence there with Jaden Jones. That'll do it for my team as well.
I think that's probably who I would have gone toward in that spot as well. So that makes sense. I think we ended up with some pretty even teams here. We'll run through them real quick. I'll read off mine and then you read off yours. But I've got Matt Zollers, quarterback, Ahmad Hardy at running back, Donovan Lubide, Caleb Goody, and Sean Terry as my 3 receivers, Jude James at tight end, Caden Green, or here's my offensive line, left to right, Caden Green, Tristan Wilson, Dominic Giudice, Whit Hafer, and Jack Lang. My defense, defensive end, Darris Smith, defensive tackles, Sterling Webb and Jason Dowell. My other defensive end, Dayton Hopkins. My 2 linebackers, Dante McClellan and Jeremiah Beasley. Elijah Dotson and the star, Chris Graves and Jackson Gates at cornerback. and then Trajan Greco and Kensley Lewiter-Foston as my safeties.
I've got Austin Simmons as my quarterback, Jamal Roberts at running back. Wide receivers are Caden Lee, Nashawn Montgomery, Kenrick Lanier. Tight end, we've got Brett Norfleet. Left to right on the offensive line, Logan Reichert, Zach Owens, Bryson Wessel, Curtis Piegler, Luke Work. And then looking at my defense, we've got Langdon Kitchen and Jaden Jones as my edge rushers, Marquise Gracial and Jalen Marshall at tackle. My linebackers, which is the part of my team that I'm most happy with, Nick Rodriguez, Robert Woodyard, Star, CJ Bass, cornerbacks, Sione Lale, and Jaleel Florence. Went with the Oregon guys there. And at safeties, I've got Santana Banner and Jaden McGregory. That rounds out my team.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I like my team a little better than yours, but maybe there's some bias in there. Oh, okay.
I do. I'm going to give it to you. I think your move with Whit Hafer, I would feel a lot more confident if he's a great utility guy that's had a lot of, I mean, nothing against Wesley. He's a true freshman, and that's a lot of responsibility for a true freshman. But I like my defense more, but your offense looks really strong. And I think that run game's gonna be hard to stop in theory in our theorized teams. It was looking pretty neck and neck there, but you started playing some strategy that I didn't even know we were bringing to the table. So kudos to you. I'll give it to you.
Chess, not checkers, my friend. I'm usually really terrible at chess, but if we play some football chess, I'm not half bad.
There we go.
So you guys can let us know down in the comments, but it sounds like Zach just conceded the battle. If any of you guys want to fight Zach's battle for him, feel free. I will go in the comments and fight you on it maybe, but I would like to hear the arguments. So with that, that's going to close our episode. And I didn't really realize this because it's Wednesday as we're recording, but at the time of you guys viewing this, we are 7 days away from the home opener. So Zach and I will be there at game 1 for Mizzou's matchup against Arkansas Pine Bluff. That will be at 7 p.m. At home, Memorial Stadium. We'll have coverage all day. We'll have a live blog running for you guys to watch. So we'll fire that off about an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game starts. So you guys can follow along with our live blog. And then we will also have a post-game show that we'll record live from the stadium. And then we'll have probably 4 to 5 articles out that night of the game, and then all the stuff going around the rest of the week. So you guys know where to stay for your Mizzou coverage. It's us, and we keep up with us throughout the week, and then keep up with us during the game in whatever way you'd like, whether it's video, live updates, or articles. We will have it all. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Next time you see us will be our preview of Arkansas Pine Bluff. That'll come out on Thursday morning, and then you'll see us again at the game. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next week.